Okay. I have a motion on the regular council meeting minutes for the 21st of July.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
I need an abstention from Councilman 2. It'd be 7 and 1 abstention.
Okay. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, you're up.
How's everybody doing today? Good. Okay, I'm going to start, if we will, just with an update regarding COVID-19 and the continued impact on this community. Something I think we have to make sure we stay disciplined on in our practice of wearing masks and our practice of social distancing and staying at home. Recently, there was a report that stated that upwards of a third of all restaurants will close by the end of the year and they will not reopen again due to the economic impact of this pandemic. And what we're seeing here in Montgomery is also an impact on our small businesses, not just those in the retail industry either. We have to make sure we keep in mind that although parts of the economy have reopened, we're not in a place where we can celebrate any of the things that we've accomplished thus far. We're looking at 6.9%, basically 7% of all Alabama cases. Our positive rate in COVID cases is about 14%, which is still a little higher than what we'd like for it to be. And you see our 7-day average being about 85%. When we think about the number of 147 deaths, we have to consider that those are loved ones, those are people in this community. Just had a friend who lost a cousin 48 hours ago to COVID-19. And so it is certainly hitting people personally more and more as we go along, and it's having different impacts on different parts of the community. I'm just going to go through some quick graphs, and you'll see, you know, as the statewide rolling average has gone up and it's come down a little bit over these last few days. Montgomery's, if you look over toward the right, has come down for the most part. And we've had a couple of spikes up there the last few weeks and some of the last few days, but we want to keep in mind, this is just a 7-day rolling average. So we want to keep in mind, again, that those numbers still are not showing the trend line that we would like to see. And as we continue to talk to neighborhood presidents and leaders, particularly the council members, as you all come into contact with so many different parts of this community, we want to make sure we emphasize to people the importance of some of the things that we've kept in place. We'll move to the next slide. Again, I'll just go through this very quickly. Well, there's nothing there on that one, so we can go to let's go to the next one. That's okay, it's just another graph, just kind of further illustrate again where we are. You can go to the next slide. All right, past 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's not popping up either. Okay. So again, just essentially what the slides show, just kind of an executive overview of where the numbers are, just some graphics for you to be able to follow a little clearly. And what we can do is make these available on our website to all of you to share with your neighborhood presidents and any member of your districts. The main thing is this, we've seen improvement. We haven't seen enough sustained improvement for us to get to a point where we can relax. And we just have to continue doing that. We have to ask for more support from our business community. We have to ask for more support from members and individual members of the community. And we have to ask everyone again, if they're not thinking about themselves, they're thinking about others as it relates to this. What we're being told right now, the U.S. Conference of Mayors and through other outlets, whether it's Johns Hopkins Public Health Institute or the Harvard Kennedy School, is that this is going to be with us through next year. We're going to see some ups, we're going to see some downs, but we're going to have to get comfortable with this, even with the vaccine potentially coming online by the end of this calendar year, it's not going to be available to the masses before the end of the first quarter, probably more like the second quarter of next year. So we're going to have to continue to ebb and flow with this as a governing body and seeing what works, what things are a little bit too heavy and what things may be a little bit too light. So let's keep our ears open as well to see how we can try to help with this, and we can do our best from a governing standpoint to work with those partners in our community. We've got some graphs up there, but that's okay. We can move past that. I just want to reiterate that with schools opening, that we have to be very disciplined and we have to be prepared that with schools opening that we may see a surge, we may see an outbreak. Frankly, I'm very concerned with our sports season continuing to go on. I'm not sure how we can expect our high school sports season to go on when many colleges have not gone forward with their fall sports season. I'm concerned that we are putting the health of the athletes, the student athletes, and their families at risk without really having done our due diligence where this counts. When you look at professional athletes and what's happening now with Major League Baseball, that they have millions and millions of dollars, the best medical care they can have, the best preparation they can have. We're seeing outbreaks and we're seeing games postponed and potentially seasons suspended. We have to consider what's that going to look like here in Montgomery with our public schools. The fact that we can't go to school in person, we're going virtually, but that we're going to have sporting events take place. I just have hesitation with that. We host those games. I would hate to have seen my senior year interrupted by this, but this is just a new day that we're in. And I think that we're going to be dealing with the impact of some of these decisions, even though we don't have direct accountability for making the decisions about whether or not fall sports can continue and go forward. So just keep all these things in mind, again, as a governing body here, as a council. I think we have to make sure we're adding our voice to the equation, regardless if it's another entity that ultimately makes the final decision. Now I want to move on to just a brief financial summary for the city of Montgomery and just kind of update you on where we are. Thankfully, things are not as bad as we thought they might be, but again, they're not as good either. We're now in the second month of the summer season, and we're continuing to see the impact of COVID-19 as it impacts our economy. Based on, again, predictions by various economists, this scenario is not expected to get better anytime soon. But we are seeing some positives. Total revenue has been affected by COVID-19 overall, as you can see. But shortly after COVID-19 arrived in our state, it was anticipated that the city would have a significant decline in sales and use tax as it has had with the lodging tax. However, that has not been the case for both of those taxes over the last few months. Today we have data on 4 of the taxes collected by the city, and we will go and show you some of these. You can see kind of the impact for the sales and use tax right there. The city is getting into the time period when, under the best circumstances, the cash flow tends to be less than at any other time of the year. So I don't want us to get too excited about these numbers because we know this is kind of the slow time of our revenue season. The anticipation revenue usually begins to flow in around the Thanksgiving holiday. This revenue consists of ad valorem taxes on real property, which is followed by business license revenue. Revenue from sales and use tax increased by 7.1% in July year over year. As we can see, this revenue stream was also up the prior month over the same period year over year, and consequently, the overall sales and use tax is up 3.7% year over year. The most logical explanation for this increase is likely due to citizens spending more at home, both in terms of retail as well as other local small expenditures. We're seeing some of the growth in those sectors, whether it be groceries, whether it be food, whether it be big box stores. That's where we're seeing the biggest impact. Even some of the retail clothing stores have seen some of the impact. We also have to acknowledge that the unemployment payments during the last few months appears to have had the desired impact by stimulating the local economy. They've had an impact on the sales and use tax revenue collections. And that's important because I know there's discussion at the federal level about whether or not to continue those stimulus payments. I would highly encourage our federal representatives to continue those payments, not only because people need them to pay their utilities, to help with the rent, to help with everyday living. They need them for basic necessities such as food, lights, and other things along those lines. So not only are we seeing an economic impact, we believe, from some of those stimulus payments, but we're also seeing the impact on everyday lives because people who are in between jobs and not just getting the otherwise normal hours they would, are at least getting something to help them, and that is stimulating our economy here locally as it is in many other communities. Next slide, please. Very quickly, the lodging tax has seen a decline year over year of 45%. Hotels are at an occupancy rate of less than half their normal rate here in the city. The lodging tax is likely to continue to have a significant decline throughout the rest of this year. And this tax has declined overall 19.5% year over year. So that in itself is a very significant number, and it's something that impacts us not only here at the city, but it impacts us at the chamber and our economic development outreach as well. Next slide, please. The gasoline tax has declined in July by 17.8%, or roughly 18% year over year. And although the decline for July was less than June, the decline is now at an overall negative growth rate of 3.2%. This negative growth rate is less than the previous month, and hopefully the decline in gasoline tax by fiscal year end will at least break even with the previous year. Last slide, please. Finally, the alcoholic and beverage tax increased 16.3% over last year's collections for the month of July. The alcoholic beverages tax is reflecting an overall growth rate of 5.4% year over year. As trustees of public funds, I, along with all of the cabinet members, will remain frugal in our spending of every dollar collected, and will be continuing to committing to providing the best services to the city of Montgomery at a level that we can afford, not any more and not any less. We want to make sure that we're staying within the bounds that have been forced upon us because of this pandemic and because of the economic impact. Hard choices are being made every day by all of our cabinet officials who did not foresee this coming. We're continuing to discuss those hard choices, even as it relates to finalizing our budget for next year, because we just don't know how significant the impact will be and how long it will impact us into the fiscal year. But we do know it's going to impact everything that we have as a priority and everything that we would like to provide to our citizens of Montgomery. Unfortunately, these are the consequences of things that are beyond our control. So those things that are within our control, we want to address in the best way and the most practical way going forward. I'll be presenting the proposed operating and debt service budget for fiscal year 2021 at our next meeting on August the 18th. I want to thank our budget department. I want to thank all of our cabinet officials for the work that they've been doing, and I certainly again want to thank all of our council members for their feedback and for your counsel in trying to construct the budget. It's been helpful. We haven't all been able to agree on everything, but we're all trying to make sure we stay within the realms of the confines that we have given this scenario. I want to next touch on a topic that we've discussed before this body, and that is that of police reform. About 2 months ago, there was civil unrest, not just here in Montgomery, but throughout this nation. And after meeting with many other leaders and talking with our police chief and other stakeholders in this community, we thought that we needed to hear what many other people were protesting about and try to get an understanding of what they wanted to see from public safety and what they wanted to see in our police department and our interactions with the community right here in Montgomery. And Chief Finley was active in all those discussions and was a willing participant to listen and to take advice and feedback from many of those stakeholders and many of the leaders that we spoke to. We told them that within 60 months we would have a police reform proposal before this body. And we're just about there. We have a preliminary draft of police reform which will include a citizens review board. And right now we are finalizing that with our legal department. And we'll be presenting that to you before the next council meeting. And we want to present that to you for you to review and for us to discuss how we move forward in a constructive manner because we realize that those people of all ages, of all backgrounds, from various neighborhoods that were protesting here were not just protesting the murder of George Floyd, they were protesting their belief in a system that has become questionable in their mind. So we want to try to meet them where they are and listen to some of the feedback that we've gotten. We've also reached outside of the feedback that we've gotten here and talked to leaders in criminal justice reform, from the Equal Justice Initiative to former U.S. attorneys, to people who were involved in President Obama's 21st Century Police Roundtable. So we've tried to bring in the best minds and thoughts that we could to address this issue, along with the local feedback that we've gotten. And so we look forward to getting those I's dotted and T's crossed with our legal department over the next few days and getting this reform package to you for your review so that as we come into our next council meeting, we can discuss that, we can present that to the public as well for their review, and ultimately pass a reform package that does include and does create a citizens review board for the city. I believe it is something that will bring about more trust with our police community interactions, and I believe it is something that will bring about more transparency for people who want to get a better understanding of how we are serving and protecting this community. So I wanted to make sure I highlighted that to you. As I told you a couple of months ago, we would have that to you, and as soon as we get these I's dotted and T's crossed from legal, we will have that to you in the upcoming days. But the draft has been prepared, and we will have that to you to review prior to this next meeting. And any questions that you may have, we can do a sit down, and we'll be able to discuss some of those things in detail. Finally, almost finally, I want to thank this city, I want to thank this community, I want to thank all of our team members with the city, city events, sanitation, street maintenance, police and fire for putting on a first-class send-off to the late Honorable Congressman John Robert Lewis. I thought what this city did in less than 5 days' time was nothing short of miraculous. We received nation and worldwide coverage because of our approach to respecting the homegoing services of one of Alabama and this nation's greatest sons, and I thought it was very appropriate. I last saw Congressman Lewis here in March, as some of you did on his way to Selma, and as he told the story about not only the Selma to Montgomery march, but he told the story of being a freedom rider and what happened at the old Greyhound bus station right here in Montgomery was very poignant to many people who had not heard that before. So for us just to be here a few months later with a send-off and with a vigil to honor his memory and his legacy that was really pulled together by everyone involved with the city, it really showed, I thought, this community in a very, very positive light. We have a very, very short, maybe a minute and a half collage, a video, that we just want to show some of you who were not able to make it, just some of the crowds and some of the comments that were shared there. Go ahead. I want to welcome all of you to this vigil that we have planned for one of the greatest sons, not only of Alabama, but of this nation.
The most astounding thing about Congressman Lewis being left for dead on that bridge is how he got up both physically and spiritually. When he recovered without a trace of bitterness or hostility and without losing hope in our democracy.
You don't have to be born in a wealthy family in order to achieve a wealthy goal.
As John crosses over the river Jordan, and as John goes to that place in the sky, there are those there who are waiting to meet him. And what is it that you think they would be saying to John when he walks in? You know what I think they would be saying? Well, sit down, servant, sit down. Sit down and rest a little while. Then I'll say, Abernathy, come on over there and shake his hand and say, yes, I know you're tired.
Again, I want to thank everyone involved, all of our departments. I want to thank everyone in the city and the community, and certainly we want to thank the family, some of whom that live right here in the city of Congressman John Lewis for sharing with us for 80 years and for all of his contributions to this nation. Tomorrow, we will have a press conference announcing the formal kickoff of our campaign to invest in public education in this community. I want to invite all of our city council members there. It will be at Capitol Heights Middle School, and this is around the referendum to increase millage for public schools in this community. I don't think I have to speak very long about that, but we know that our public schools need support. We know that our students, our teachers, and their parents need more resources, and this is one of the ways that we can really put our actions behind our words and make sure that we show up and that all of us as stakeholders here support this referendum to bring about more support for our school system and ultimately for the future of this community. So I hope all of you will be able to be there tomorrow morning at Capitol Heights Middle School to kick this off, and we hope that you'll be actively engaged in the campaign to share information with the community about why it's so important and why we need more resources for our school system so that we can have the first-class school system that our students, our teachers, and their parents in this community deserves. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Calhoun, you have a guest?
Yes. Mr. President, we have Mr. Damon Duncan with the Montgomery Housing Authority want to address the council and the mayor.
Very good. Either one. You can do it right in front. Be fine. Very good.
Thank you, esteemed council persons, esteemed mayor. Thank you for having me today. I've been on the ground now. I'm Damon Duncan, the new executive director for the Housing Authority. Whereas I'm new to Montgomery, I'm not new to the industry of affordable housing, having served small, medium, and large PHAs throughout a 28-year career. This is my life's work. That's what I believe God has blessed me to be able to do successfully. In the past 90 days have been a challenge as we're trying to service our residents during a very difficult time. We're continuing to administer housing in the best way possible while respecting the type of environment that we're in. Is very, very challenging because the type of service that we provide literally requires us to interface and interact and meet with large groups and meet with the community and so on. And so we're trying to be creative in the way that we do that while still administering a quality program. We have received, as many of you know, we have received a share of CARES Act funds to the tune of $1.2 million, of which we recently got board approval to expend those dollars on PPE equipment. Many of you know that we've been partnering with Alabama State and the county health department and administering the tests right there on site at the campus for the past 90 days. We'll continue that through August. And I just want to say, hey, I'm glad to be here. We really look forward to helping to transform not only the public housing communities, but to increase the number of affordable housing units in the city of Montgomery and surrounding areas. Many people who did not require affordable housing prior to the pandemic now find themselves in a place where they never thought they'd be. And I'm sure a number of individuals have a different view of what affordable housing is. And we want to be able to meet those needs as we move forward as well. So that's just a few comments, a little bit background about me without going into a lot of depth. I have worked for the Atlanta Housing Authority. I've worked for the Detroit Housing Authority. I've worked on Hope 6 projects, ARA development projects. This is my third CEO or executive director role. Recently came from Richmond, Virginia, which is also a state capital. So with that being said, I'm happy to be here. I'm open to questions. I've had a great opportunity to meet with the chief. I've met with a number of officials, a couple of city council persons, the mayor, Mr. Robert Smith and Desmond Wilson, and the folks in the Planning Economic Development Department, trying to make my way around. Again, it's very difficult practicing physical and social distancing, but we're trying to make our way around and meet as many people as possible in efforts to secure good working relationship, great partnerships, not only with the city and the residents, but with the county as well. So I'm open to any questions.
Anybody got a question?
I'm sorry?
Audrey, you have a question?
I got a comment. Mr. Duncan, I just want to thank you for being here today. And I like to say I ride frequently by Gibbs Village. I appreciate the signs I see out that says wash your hands, if you're sick, stay at home. Those yard signs you put out to help remind the residents out there, stay safe, COVID is real. I appreciate that. I wish we had some more of those kind of put in other places around the city because I think people are not paying attention, but I just appreciate the fact that the Montgomery Housing Authority has taken an aggressive approach in helping keep your residents safe in the city at large. So I just appreciate that and what efforts you're making in our city. We appreciate that.
Thank you, and we really like the way the residents are preserving those. The kids are not throwing them around, we're not finding them everywhere. We've not had to get a new batch replenished just yet. Every time the lawn service comes out and cut the grass, they're putting the signs back and they're being preserved and respected, so thank you for that.
Mr. President.
Thank you for coming. Anybody else got any
Mr. President,
Yes,
I just want to thank you for coming out today and working with the partnership with the City of Montgomery on how we create the environment for affordable houses within Montgomery. You hit the ground running and you just wanted to reach out and create partnerships. And I think that's good for Montgomery as we go forward. You met with our planning department, Desmond, on how we can collaborate on things to make this public housing and affordable housing a better place in Montgomery, Alabama. So thank you for coming today.
Appreciate you coming. Look forward to working with you.
Pardon me?
We look forward to working with you.
Looking forward to working here and being part of the illustrious history of the city of Montgomery.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 1.
Mr. President, item 1, review of Southeast Pallet and Box Incorporated.
Audrey, you got anything on that?
Mr. Griffin, are you with us?
I hear you.
Mr. Griffin, are you there? Can they hear me?
On how many people have
Is my
died
mic on?
in Montgomery City Jail. And according to the city of Montgomery,
Mr.
people
Griffin?
have died in the Montgomery City Jail, which we don't know to be true, or else I would be out here with this flag right now.
Mr. Griffith, are you on the telephone? Is there a representative of Southeast Pallet on the telephone?
I don't think so.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay.
There he is.
You there?
I'm sorry, I couldn't get through.
Okay.
Can we get those pictures
Any
back up?
questions on it?
We have some pictures
You
here.
want to show us the pictures? Who's going, you have the pictures, Mike?
Ms. Griffith, if you could just go ahead and talk about the pictures and talk about what progress you've made, that'd be good. We're gonna look at the pictures while you talk.
Okay, that sounds great. I appreciate everyone's time this evening. We're just continuing our promise as you made a few months ago. I'm trying to improve the area out there where we continue the road sweeps for neighbors on a daily basis. We continue to haul off about 2 loads down to the backside of the debris that was back there, and that's going very well. We've completed all fence coverings on all visual barriers around the entire property on both sides of the road, and we've moved all of our transportation to another location across the road that has a new fence all around that perimeter with barriers also. So all that's brand new fencing. We've just finished the movement of the new power production to an alternative building so we can start the construction of the new shipping docks in our original building. So that will ultimately enable us to not access the Washington Ferry Road with our trailer. We'll access it from our own property. And I think there's a picture or two in there that shows the actual, we're in the ramp phase of that. This is the final stage of this whole process. And we're starting to build the ramp for that now. The actual building and roofing part will come probably within 45 days. And hopefully, if all goes well, nothing else happens with this environment we're in, we feel like the first part of November will be done with this whole project we promised the city. And we're working diligently with it every day, and we appreciate y'all's patience and your guidance, especially Ms. Grant. She's been wonderful to work with through this whole ordeal.
Very
Ms.
good.
Griffith, we thank you for calling in, and we'll look forward to that last update, and we'll be through in about 3 more months, right?
Thank you.
That's my hope and plan.
Okay.
At this time, if anybody has any questions or, I'm an open book, so if anybody would like to come out, I'll show them everything there is to know about Paris out there and walk them through and just continue to show you what we're doing out there and what we're going to maintain.
Very good. Thank you for calling in. Okay, next item. Next item, item number 2.
Ms. Graham, are you carrying this over for another review in 3 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Item 2, ordinance amending Code of Ordinances, Chapter 11, Article 2, ambulances, Section 11-40, billing.
Anybody got any questions on this item? We ready to vote? Need a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Ordinance is adopted. Item 3 has been withdrawn. Item 4, ordinance repealing ordinance number 30-2004, Planning Commission review of site development plans.
We had finished discussion on this being a motion.
Motion to suspend the rules.
The motion to suspend the rules, all in favor, raise your hand.
Mr. President, I'm not going to suspend the rules because I don't know how I want to vote on this tonight.
Okay, carry on.
And I want to talk to my planning commission guy.
Okay.
And I
Carry
understand
on.
both sides of it, and it's no big deal to us, but I want to
No.
make sure
Won't
the
matter.
citizens are okay and the planning commission's okay with it.
Yeah, okay.
Item 5, resolution authorizing Mayor Reed to make application to DOJ for the fiscal year 2020 JAG grant for $86,649.
Okay.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Have motion to suspend the rules, all in favor, raise your hand.
Mr. President, I got one question.
Okay.
Chief,
Let's suspend the rules, then we'll go ahead and
All
speak. All right, now your question.
yeah, the 60% out of this match on the cars for the
Unanimous.
She had to say unanimous.
What's your question?
Betty question.
You're not, okay, my bad. You can stay right there. On the cars, approximately how many cars can you buy with the $51,000?
We're looking at one, it is flexible up to 51,000.
Okay.
So it might be some other equipment, but that is what we're looking at right now is one vehicle.
Okay, so that wasn't in your part two in the budget hearing, so this,
Yeah, this is separate. This is that JAG grant.
Okay.
With that particular specified item.
okay, thank you.
Okay, need a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt?
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous, resolution is adopted. Item 6, show cause hearing for Empire Multimedia Group. Doing business is Empire Entertainment Center at 2416 East South Boulevard.
Need a representative of Empire Multimedia Group. Empire.
You have a representative on
Oh,
the
I think
phone.
they're coming in. Mr. Montgomery.
You also have a representative on the phone.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll go ahead and let the police talk. Okay. That's,
Here you go. Thank you, sir.
all right, that's just, all right, please first go ahead and give us your information on this.
We need their names for the record, Mr. President.
Let's wait till that. Okay. You want all the people that are going to speak on the item here? That's the representative of Empire. Give us your
Maurice
name.
Good. Maurice Good.
All right, Maurice Hood.
Donald Cunningham. Patrick Adair. Arthur Stokes.
That all? Okay. Okay. Go ahead
Yes.
with your.
Yes, sir. Good evening. In regards to 2416 East South Boulevard, Club Empire, since March 1st, 2020, we've responded out there a total of 89 times. You can see I listed in the paper that I gave you kind of a breakdown of some of the things we responded out on. We have shots fired, vehicles broken into, extra patrol. We've had accidents, disturbances, and then the majority of it is listed as 66 times to include crowd control, people crossing the boulevard, side streets, traffic being stopped because subjects are trying to get into an overcrowded or closed parking lot to the business. Also, we want to make sure to note that the entire time out there, there is going to be a strong odor of marijuana coming from the business. I've listed some significant events on here to include shots being fired from the parking lot, shots being fired inside of the club, as well as numerous fights. Back on July 25th, on July 4th, they hired entertainment to come. The entertainment was actually fearful to even enter into the business due to the capacity of the crowd. We asked for a head count, and we ended up having to close the business down about 2:30 in the morning. We counted about 700 people that came out of the club during that evening. And then on July 25th, they also sold tickets for entertainment. It appeared that they were over there, a lot of patrons. We could smell strong odor of marijuana coming from the business. The entertainment individuals refused to go inside the business initially. He was afraid of the crowd that was inside the building. We also located their security walking around with an AR-15 style firearm, which is in violation of the state law on how security should be armed. And we had numerous fights inside the business as well as outside of the business. And I have a video to show for this venue as well as Club Ciroc as well.
You have video of the.
It's about 4 minutes long and it includes both venues, sir. So if you want. The first part is going to be Club Ciroc, which is next.
This is Ciroc. It's Ciroc.
Yeah, Empire is going to be next, sir. They're looped in together.
Y'all, how y'all say the police come?
That's not our parking lot either.
Ooh.
That's not our parking lot. That's not our parking lot.
Yes, the first one's going to be Club Ciroc, and the second part of the video is Club Empire. So it's 4 minutes long. They're looped
Pull the
in
mic
together.
up close to you,
That was
please.
not our parking lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're going Empire first.
Just let us know when it switches over.
I will. It'll show up there, Club Empire. Okay, right there. You can back up a little bit. All right.
That's right. Back the other way.
There you go.
Just watch it back. Are they fighting again? Where's he at? The owner? Where at? He's loud.
This right here was last weekend.
That it?
Yes, sir.
All of it? Okay.
Yes, sir. As you can see, it's a huge drain on our resources in reference to patrol officers. The officers that respond out are on duty. They're being pulled to have to manage crowd control, fights, things of that nature, as well as directing traffic to make sure that the citizens within the community are safe.
I see on one situation on July the 4th where the social distancing capacity was 480 people, over 700 were county coming out of the business.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
You got something?
If I may.
You can pull your mask off while you're talking. We'll be able to understand you better. Give us a reason why we should leave you alone.
Okay. So first, I do want to address the council. Thank you for having us up here to be able to defend ourselves in this manner. The first thing I do want to say is stress to you guys that I hear they keep saying Club Empire, right? But as you can see in the name, we're Empire Entertainment Center. We're trying so hard to be or get away from that moniker of a club. So that's first. In our attempt to do that, we feel as though with our safety plans, and I do have a couple of different documents to pass out to you guys if I may. Would you like to review these documents? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I want to make a direct response to a couple of different violations that is alleged at this moment. The Montgomery Police Department is explaining that they have responded to our venue about 89 times, correct? That sounds like a overreach, if I may. As we have in our records, on July 25th, the instance she brought up, we do have record that fire marshal had not been called, correct? The only ones who are, I guess, going to directly determine if we were over capacity or not over capacity would be the fire marshal. It's the reason they weren't called. And we have on another occasion as well where the fire marshal actually was called out and we were found within the guidelines. Okay. I do have a record of that. It's in the packet we just handed you. As far as the violence and the things of that nature in the video that you've seen, you keep in mind that these are little small 15-second clips. So our venue actually has security recorded cameras, right? And what those videos you saw neglect to show you is the immediate response of our security team expelling that particular situation. This situation that you saw on the video, at least the first instance that we saw, the venue was shutting down at that point. It happened around 2:15, 2:30 when we were closing. Most of the patrons had already left out. So while our security is escorting everyone out of the building, apparently something was going on in the restroom. And as soon as we were alerted of that, that's when we responded. We have the footage to show that. It's not currently with us right now, but we do have it.
Can I interject?
We do have it on our phone, though.
All right, Council, you got any questions?
May I interject on that? The incident that he's talking about, they took the individual that was involved in the fight in the bathroom. Security carried her out of the building and dumped her on the sidewalk in front of us. The business did not close then. It was probably 20 to 30 minutes after that before they closed. We had to deal with trying to get her taken care of. Unfortunately, it resulted in her arrest at that time, but that is how they handled that situation.
If I may, we do have the video proof from our security cameras if you guys would like to see that in direct correlation to that. But also, another thing to just note, right, we opened on March 7th, right? That was our first event. Since then, we've had a couple different events out there who, you know, patrons have rented out our building because we're an entertainment center. That's one of the things you would do. People rent out our building and we handle whatever security measures and things of that nature. We
So
pay.
you rent this building out to other people?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You rent this building out? You rent it out to other people, I hear.
Yes, sir. We rent it out. In correlation to, you know, the parking lot and the incidents and things of this nature, we do want to point out that we do hire off-duty security guards, correct? We have multiple MPD. We have multiple police request forms, some that have been acted upon and some that have not. We also have the email messages saying, hey, can we have approval on this? We found that on the events that go a little more smoothly in the parking lot, the MPD presence is out there who we paid for and hired. For some reason, it's not always the case that the MPD is out there. And sometimes they are out there on nights where we don't request as many of them because we're not having that big of a venue. It might be a private party, not that big of an event, sorry. It may be a private party, but we feel like there's a little overreach on that side and they hinder our business by bringing so many on-duty officers out there to police the parking lot.
So my question is to you, what is your security company that you're using name and where are they based out of?
So they're based out of Atlanta. We have them come down pretty regularly. Reason being is we don't want any familiarity with the security guards and the patrons. We found that in our experience and going to different places here, clubs or venues of the like.
Let me stop a second. Anyone in the audience, I want you to social distance 6 foot apart, please.
Can y'all step to the side and let them come up
Okay.
so we
Mr.
can
President,
social
Mr.
distance?
President, I have a question before someone comes up.
Okay, I'm not calling anybody up now yet.
I'll wait, they coming back. I'll wait, I'll yield.
Yep, all
I'll
right.
yield till they come back.
Mr. Calhoun, what you got?
Come on.
Okay,
Hey, how y'all doing?
please put it down. Give us your name, please.
My name's Shakira Tate. I'm the sister of the victim that was in the bathroom. That fight went on for so long. They almost killed my sister in that bathroom, okay? Like this lady said, the security picked her up by her arms and her legs and threw her out the door. And she went to jail. And they let the 3 girls who jumped on her stay in the club. I have the whole video of that bathroom fight, and it was almost 5 minutes long of them in there almost killing my sister. My sister had a broke shoulder. Her wrist is messed up. She got a concussion. She got blood shots in her eyes. Her eyesight, she can barely see. My sister embarrassed to even come outside because of this altercation that went on at that club. And for one, the owner said that all security was gone. He was in the office, and everybody was paid and gone. When I got that phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning, I went up there to that club. He was there, all his security was there, and everybody else was still in that club. Like he said, it was closed down. It really was closed down, but everybody was still in there. And they almost killed my sister in that bathroom. I don't know what the security was when it happened. A lot of people saying it was more fights occurred that night. So I don't know what the security was, but they almost killed my sister in that bathroom. They really did.
All right, thank you. Your name again was?
Shakira Tate.
Shakira Tate, okay. All right, we had several other people who wanted to talk about this. Jamal, you were going to talk about this?
Yeah, he's going to call my name.
Can I hear you?
He's going to call my name, the first name. But you didn't call my name.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. I've been fighting against police brutality ever since I was 7 years old, Mr. President. And when I watched this video a couple of weeks ago, I did a Facebook Live. It got over 100,000 views, city council members. This summer, you all watched me, Mr. William Boyd, and others did protesters, peaceful protesters, across the city of Montgomery.
Let's talk
When
about,
George
talk
Floyd,
about
I'm getting to my point. If you let me get to my point, let me get to my point. When a police officer, you don't want to hear it though, police officer put his feet on George Floyd's neck. I know that hurt you. When I watched this video just now, like y'all did, and seen a black female that looked like me, put her feet on the neck of another black female, it embarrassed me. It belittled me. Councilman Pruitt, it made me cry. Because we out here every single day as activists fighting for police reform in the city of Montgomery. But we have to watch a video where we see black on black crime going on in a business establishment. Where the business establishment in this picture shows the security guard at the door while the fight was going on. It shows the security guards at the door while the fight taking place. Ain't nobody, read the video, watch the video yourself. Y'all educated. Ain't nobody tried to stop nothing. That girl could have lost her life. She could have lost her life, and I've been preaching on the news talking about enough is enough. So I said all that, Mr. President, say this establishment don't need no second chance.
Okay.
I agree. Let me finish, man.
Okay.
Okay. I'm all for black-owned business, Mr. President. I believe these 4 brothers want to do what's right. But just like the Bible said, they need to get their house in order. They need to really get their house in order before they talk about having anything at that establishment. Because what took place is wrong. Think about if that was your sister, Mr. Mitchell. Think about if that was your niece, your daughter. Think about it. She put her feet, a Jordan shoe, Councilman Lyons, on the neck of a girl. They treat that girl like she was a dog. She could have died. So why do we need them to be open in Montgomery? We need to set an example. When them boys cut up downtown 3 years ago, it was disorderly conduct charges for them. Do you remember? But ain't nothing happened to these folks. And I'll take the heat for it. I don't mind taking it. Because I'm bagged by somebody in heaven and he watching me and guiding me. So I don't mind taking the heat. But I applaud the MPD for doing their job. And I don't blame MPD. And I'll be the first one to be critical of MPD. But it's our problem, Calhoun, not theirs. And they ought to be held responsible. And I hope you, Mr. President, please hold them responsible. And thank you.
Thank you. John Owens, Gerald Williams, are y'all in here? Do you have anything else to say? And I got Donald Cunningham, Arthur Stokes, Patrick Adair, Broderick Johnson.
I think they was the four brothers.
Huh?
I think they was the four that was up there.
Where are they? Oh, that's four brothers.
How you doing?
Okay.
Good evening. How you
Good to
doing,
see
Councilman
you.
Green?
And you're,
I'm John Owens.
Okay.
I'm president of Spring Valley Cross Creek
Okay.
Community Association.
yes, sir.
We had an occasion to speak with the owners of Empire Entertainment yesterday on a conference call. Let me say this, and I said it to them also. We're not in the business as a organization to put people out of business or to put people in business. We just ask that any business, black, white, anybody else that comes in, would be honorable enough to do have a business that is going to be an asset to our community, to our city, to our state. I don't know all the ins and outs, and neither, I don't frequent clubs. I can't say what all goes on there. But when I talked to the young men, they had some issues that they were trying to establish. Again, we're not privileged to all the information that goes on in the fights or whatever else has gone on at those clubs or at the venue. But I will say this. We don't want to put anybody out of business. We just like the business to take care of what their responsibilities are. We talked to them about their business as a whole of who they're bringing in to rent their event center, the number of people that's in their event center. And there were several issues that they kind of brought forward that I wasn't sure of. The number of patrons that they could have in their building with the pandemic going on. Is that still in place where there's half capacity?
Yes.
I think they were saying to us yesterday that they weren't under that, that the governor had changed that. So again, we don't know. They said that they had tried to get off-duty MPD to do the parking lot for them. Again, that's a issue where it's, from my understanding, they volunteer for those patrols. But with that, can they open or solicit other agencies to come in? I know Montgomery sometimes has officers go over and work football games in different cities. Can they do the same thing or get a different type of agency to work those areas? But again, be responsible for your patrons and be responsible for your business. That's all we're saying. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Broderick Johnson.
Ms. Graham, I need to speak with you later on too, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Is Broderick Johnson on the phone? I think he left. No phone call? Okay. Patrick Adair, we get him? I think I've got everybody. Okay.
You ready for me to address?
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
I think we've heard everything.
You fixing to do what you need to do?
I'm going.
I got a couple questions.
Okay, go ahead.
I do too.
Are these new security procedures that y'all have just come up with? Because I was just reading while some folks were talking. Are these pretty much, y'all just came up with all these, or have y'all had these established?
We have some of them established, some of them already in place, some of them is what we're trying to going to start doing.
In just reading some of these guys, and I ain't never owned a bar, but security not allowed to drink liquor while on duty, security not to engage in unlawful activity. Are those like brand new y'all just came up with?
No, sir.
No.
All right.
That's
Hey,
just every safety measure we try to do to show you guys that we already have in place
Hopefully they won't do it.
pretty good security standards, and we're constantly improving on that, whether it's improvements to our building or by, of course, adding more security measures to try to make it as safe as possible. Because that's what our whole mission statement is about at Empire Entertainment Center.
well, and I heard
Safe,
you
clean,
guys say
fun.
you're not a club. You don't want to be a club.
Correct.
But yet, don't y'all rent it out to club promoters and have events, which becomes a club?
Now, they're not specified as club promoter, they're event planners.
Mr. President, I have a question.
What?
You know, looking at these incidents, and I hear what you guys saying, you're here on the show cause hearing to say why you should keep your license. I hear what you're saying against what MPE says and what you're saying, but when I see a video like that in the prevention, you can say your security was on, but that went on that video. I see no security, but I'm looking at on July the 24th when you had 480. How many security guards or MPD off duty did you have on hand that night?
Well,
We had 20 security guards, and we had 4 off duties, MPD.
Okay.
And when the incident happened outside, we had off duty out there, but the police, all they were doing was just have their camera out recording. They weren't helping us on the situation at hand.
Okay.
We got camera footage of the incident that happened in the bathroom, where we were breaking up another fight up front. That's why we know nothing happened in the bathroom.
Okay.
Then, with the incident that happened outside, when we carried it out, we set it down. We got the video footage of that. We didn't throw it down. We got video footage, and we got video footage of the police just standing around just looking. It's like seven police officers just watching her get up, swung on him, hit him in the face.
Okay. Well, let me ask you, you said you have 20? I understand 20.
Yes.
Okay, but are your off-duty police officers, are they hired by you? Or they,
We were hired by the MPD. When we first,
you paying them or
we
the
paid
city
them.
of
We
Montgomery?
paid them. We
You're
paid
paying
them.
them.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We pay them.
So if you hire somebody, you should require work from them, right?
correct.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So your security at 20 people, 20 security officers, with that kind of action going on, I think, you know, I'm not on a vote to close you down. I just want you guys to do things that's safe within this community. But when you see things like that, maybe you need to screen your patrons that's coming into your business. Whether you're an entertainment business, you know, that kind of entertainment is stuff you see at WWF or boxing match. That's not entertainment that we want to promote in the city of Montgomery. You know, I understand you guys young entrepreneurs, but this kind of action is not something that we want to see in Montgomery. And when I look at from March the 1st, 2020, and we're just in August 4th, you know, these calls for services.
May I speak? Our first event was March 7th, and we've been shut down for 2 months before we had another event.
That's even worse.
No, what I'm saying is, like, March 7th was our first event that we ever had. We ain't had nothing going March 1st.
And on March
Okay,
8th, we
you
had a
know-
disturbance there where the manager refused to come out and talk to officers the next day after you opened. Yes, March 8th.
Yeah, I got, what's your hours of operation?
Okay.
Our operation is based off the time that the patrons want to rent the event center.
Say that again?
It's based off whatever the hours the people who rent the venue.
What's your business license say? What's your hours of operation?
Standard business hours. All day.
Okay.
So your business license, you can be open all day.
Correct.
I got a couple questions. Can I ask a couple questions?
I'm gonna let Mr.
Okay, you said,
Mr. Mitchell next.
In here it says 89 times. That's what MPD records show. But the young man said
89 or 89?
89.
89 times would include
We
the
didn't even
amount
open
of
89
officers each time an officer gets out at that location. So you're looking at when we are trying to clear out a parking lot and we have 10 officers that have to do that, that's what's counted in that number.
Well, I was wanting to ask, you said you think that's a bit fluffed or puffed up.
Correct.
How many times do you think, just based estimate, that the police have come or been called to your establishment?
To be honest, I don't think they've been called none. They volunteered to come out.
Oh, you don't think nobody ever called the police on your establishment?
we put the request in, we're supposed to have 4 police officers, which we came up with this with Mr. Chief Finley.
Okay.
And we put the request in. Each time we put the request in, our request has not been filled. I even had to call the non-emergency line to get officers out there. Now, when we don't even have officers to be filled, they come out there with 8 of them, and we be like, oh, so we walk out there to make sure, like, y'all are off duty. Like, no, we're not your off duty. We're not your off duty. But we got 8 on duties out there, and we don't have no off duties out there, which we put in the request in the email.
And can I just comment on that? An off-duty job is at an officer's discretion. If they don't want to volunteer to work that job, they're not going to volunteer to work it. And that unfortunately leaves us to have to use on-duty resources to do it. We can't make an officer work a job that they're not interested in doing for off-duty employment.
Okay.
You got a question? Go ahead.
That's it.
No, they get Mr. Lyons, you got anything to say before I? Go ahead.
I just had a couple questions. Your business establishment.
Get up in your mic, Mr.
Your business. Hello, can you hear me?
Barely.
Is it not on?
He's not on.
Can you hear me now?
He's not on.
He's not on.
How about that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's better.
Your business establishment, how many parking spaces are available for the building that you rent?
I'm sorry, can you ask the
Parking
question?
spaces, how many
Parking
parking spaces
spaces?
are available in your parking lot? Can anybody tell
It's
me that?
About
maybe
700.
300.
How many?
They got a lot.
They got a lot.
About
It's maybe
700.
300.
But I'm
3 to 700.
seeing the video that's pouring over, you got folks parking in the grass and parking at the Walgreens.
No, that's
No, that's Club Ciroc. Yeah.
That's your right.
They got a big parking lot. They
They got a big parking
All
lot.
right,
Go ahead.
never mind.
before I go.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Can
Mr.
we
Mitchell?
show the footage of the video that the incident happened with the young lady, showing that our security guard was breaking up another incident while they were going on?
And we can point out that there were 3 fights that evening.
Okay, Mr. Mitchell?
Mr.
No, mate.
Yeah,
Volunteer, go ahead.
I do have a question for you. Do y'all feel like you're responsible for the people in the parking lot?
We hired all duty.
Mike, you can't put this on.
We do assume responsibility ourselves. However, we do feel like, with hiring these off-duty security guards who aren't supposed to enter the venue itself, we were told that, right? They said they police the parking lot, so we are relying on them to actually do that.
And the reason I asked that is when we were under curfew, I know Councilman Mitchell right here went out not at 10 o'clock, but at 11:30, and the parking lot was still full and still the party was going on. And I couldn't understand how come we had to use our resources to go out there to get everybody to disperse and why your group and company couldn't handle that out there.
Gotcha.
Okay.
If you don't mind me asking, what date was that instance?
I was talking to Lyons.
It was,
talking about the date you went out
June 8th.
in the parking lot during the curfew.
June 4th.
Well, let me say this.
Mr. Mitchell, go ahead.
I go out. Anytime I call, they'll tell you I'm there. I'm in the parking lot. So on Monday we have a conference call with maybe 13 of my neighborhood association presidents. On that call, I did not get on that call. The neighborhood presidents talked to those owners of the club. And with that being said, they had a series of questions. And at the end of that meeting, I actually called my neighborhood association presidents. They want to give these young men, like I took my personal feelings out of it. They want to give these young men the opportunity to change some of the things that was going on within that club. One of them told me if we're going to close down establishments for fighting, we're going to have to close down McDonald's. We're going to have to close down Montgomery Mall. We're going to have to close down public schools. So you will have altercations sometime. But the thing about it, are they willing to do, have they filled the burden to make us comfortable with let them operate in the city of Montgomery? And with my neighborhood association that stays in close proximity to that club, I think it was Woodley Park, Plantation Way, and Spring Valley. Those are the 3 in close proximity that said that they are willing to give these young men a second chance on doing what they said they was going to do on that telephone call. So today, I am doing the same thing. I want to give these young men a second chance because that bargain town, nothing else is going to come, but I want to make sure that what's coming in my district is a safe place for everybody. And I want to make sure that they put in place that anybody that has a fight or altercation, that they are signing warrants and making sure that they are not able to come back into that establishment. But I want to make sure that they also have a relationship with Montgomery Police Department. That if they don't have off-duty officers, they have to come up with other options. But I don't want to be in the business of shutting down every time an incident happens in an establishment. I want to make sure that these young men understand that we're not going to tolerate it, so it will not be a second chance if we decide to move forward. But on that being said, I want to make a motion to deny revocation.
Okay.
You gotta have a
That means
motion. You're gonna have to
Public
motion.
hearing has been closed, and we're now into the resolution. Is that proper? And the resolution states that we will revoke their license. Okay, and I got a motion on the floor.
We need a motion to suspend the
I need a
rules,
motion to
Mr.
suspend the rules, first
Wait,
of all.
before we suspend the rule, can I ask a question? Is it okay, Mr. President, I ask a question before we?
Yeah, you can ask
So,
one more
Rondé, I'm sorry, I was looking at that video.
Go ahead.
So you're saying you want to give them another chance?
Yes, my
And
neighborhood
so what's your-
association, my neighborhood association, it was 13 on, maybe 7 people on that call, and the census was that they do want to give them another chance.
How long would that,
But
go ahead.
Isn't it just a lot to ask of our MPD to have to babysit an establishment like this?
Yeah.
80-something, 90-something times.
In a small period of
And
time.
that's essentially what we're doing is babysitting them to make
They've
sure
been
that
open
nothing.
Ms. Graham, you
March,
got
I mean-
a statement? You through?
No.
Okay, I declare
If I may.
the show cause hearing is over.
Wait a minute.
Goes to council.
Mr. Jim Wright, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mitchell, okay, so you said give them another chance. What is the stipulations? Like, how many calls can they have? How many,
Well, the stipulation, that this is it. We have been here before, so they're going to come back in front of us in 45 days. If any, I don't care what it is, if any violations within those 45 days, that's it. That's period. I mean, that's what we are. But I will, like I said, I serve the people. The people of District 6 said that, hey, let's give them opportunity. I took my personal feelings. If I would have said my personal feelings, I would have closed them down 2 weeks ago. So I did take my personal feelings of how I feel personally about the club. But when my neighborhood association presidents called me and say, this is what we're looking at, and this is what we want, I have to represent the people of my district. And if they're going to put in place something that makes sure that their patrons are safe, I have no problem with that.
what they put in place? Did they give you something extra they put in
Yeah, I mean,
place?
I talked to them after the meeting and before the meeting.
Mr. Pruitt, you got something to say?
Hey, Mr. Mitchell, listen, I respect your opinion, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not gonna vote for it, and I'm just gonna tell you why. In looking at all these calls for service, we've got crime all over this city. I've hired off-duty security officers to ride different neighborhoods, and we've got on-duty police officers going out here, spending time in this parking lot, putting them in a bad position, and if MPD will not work off-duty at this club when they need extra money,
That says something.
that ought to tell you something. So I respect you, and I'm gonna suspend the rules, but I'm not gonna vote for it.
Okay,
And now, wait, do your security guard have what kind of gun was it that they had? What kind of gun was it?
It was an AR-15.
Are they walking around with those type of guns in there?
They were informed they're not allowed to.
They're not walking inside the building. They it's an outdoor, the ones that patrol the parking lot. And then we had.
But that's illegal, right?
We had a meeting with the officer. What was her name? She explained to us that we couldn't. After that incident, it had to be in since then.
Okay.
Mr.
Anybody
President,
else?
one
We have
last
a motion
question.
to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, hold up before we suspend the rules.
If I may, Mr. President.
I think Chief's at the mic, and I'm gonna support.
Chief, you got something to say?
This couple things, just kind of.
Rondé want to say something real quick. I'm sorry. CC.
Hang on, Chief, you want to say something?
Yeah, this kind of piggyback with Chief Reed said is, I have some serious concerns about the shootings. I know that we had one shooting incident in there, I want to say on the 18th of July, and we didn't get any cooperation whatsoever from them. So we know that based on all indications, someone was shot, and again, we didn't get the cooperation. So we had number of shooting incidents in the parking lot, number of shooting incidents that we know of, and it's going to be a homicide. And I'm fighting each and every day just to make sure that we have respectable number of officers throughout the city patrolling these communities. But as Chief Reed said, we got to babysit these parking lots, not only this club, but any club. And so we take pride of what we do to make sure if we got a complaint or a concern in any part of the city, we're going to make sure that we give love. And we give a lot of love there, but we still have to give love other places. So this is really exhausting our resources, but we're going to make it happen. But I think that we just really got to consider how we're going to continue to make Montgomery safe. And this is nonsense each and every day that they open up. And this is not the first club. We're looking at some other clubs too. But we put a lot of emphasis out there. And luckily, we haven't had those shootings or those homicides, but they're coming. And if we back off, they come in. So we gotta give love, and we will make sure that we have patrol in those particular areas. But this is ridiculous. These numbers are ridiculous. And again, we out there. We're going to continue to be out there. Okay. And the other thing that I have to say is that this is a place you go get high, and that's what we entertain. We go into these places and you're getting high. Right. And that's just unacceptable. When we talk about a respectable business, you want to be respectable, be comfortable. But, we have policies, I guess, throughout the state as far as these businesses, no smoking. But you go in that arena, you're getting high. And enough is enough. So that's my stance is, my recommendation on these clubs, do away with their license. If they can't run a respectable business, keep people safe going to and from, they don't need to have a license. So that's just my 2 cents in this.
Thank you, Chief.
If I may, Mr. President, I'm sorry, I do need to say something in regards to what they were just talking about. So according to our records, right, we've only had 29 events. So if they're saying that they responded on a call 89 different times,
To explain that to you.
are you coming
89
multiple times on one event, or?
Well,
I'm
An
confused.
explanation
We
to
weren't
you
open in
behind that
2019.
is, it is 89 times. You have 89 separate incidences where an officer has had to get out on the radio to respond to your business for one reason or another. Now, maybe it may be in the same evening regarding an incident, but it is 89 times that an officer has gotten out on the radio to be put out at your business for one form or another.
I declare the show cause hearing is over, and we will now address this in a resolution. I need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Okay, now I need a motion.
Motion to deny.
Have a motion to deny the license or deny the refusal.
Can we say
Revocation. Make your motion clear. You're denying the license or the revocation.
Revocation.
What was the motion
Meaning
again?
they would keep their license. How long would they keep the license?
They would come back in front of us in 45 days.
Okay. Have a motion to revoke their license, not to revoke their license, and have them come back in 45 days. All in favor of that motion, raise your hand.
He's making a motion to deny the resolution to revoke it, which will allow him to keep his license and come back in 45 days.
It comes back in 45 days.
Hey, Mr. Mitchell, can we make an
I need a
amendment to make
motion.
that 30
Hold on.
days? Can you make that 30 days?
30 days, if we're going to pass it, 30 days.
All right, so 30 days. Okay.
Now you need to vote.
Now, all in favor of the motion to let him keep his license, basically?
To deny the resolution to revoke.
It's reverse of what we're saying. Okay, all in favor of that, raise your hand.
2.
All opposed, same sign.
6.
Motion failed. Okay. Means you lose your license. Your license is taken. Okay.
No, so we've got to vote. There's the presumption, the motion to deny the resolution fails, so there has to be a motion to the positive. A motion to adopt the
I need a motion
resolution.
to the positive
To adopt the resolution. To revoke it.
Or to adopt.
I need that motion.
Can I get that from somebody, motion to adopt? I need-
Motion?
Yeah, as written, yeah. Yeah, Mr. Lyons makes a motion to adopt. All in
Okay.
favor, raise your hand.
5.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay, get,
5-2.
I need the yes votes again, because I just got the count. Who voted yes? 2,
You got
4,
You got 5, 4, and 2 again.
9, 7, 8. That's 6.
Okay, 6 and 2.
1, 2, 4, 9, 7, and 8 voted yes. So there's 6 to adopt. Need the no votes. Got 2 no votes. That's our count.
Okay. Suspended license.
Yes. The
Thank you,
resolution
over
is
with.
adopted
Okay,
to
next
revoke their
item.
business license.
Next item.
Is not a way we can show the video, show our video?
No, sir.
No need.
No, sir. We've seen enough. We've seen enough. Thank you. It's over. Okay, next item.
Yep. Just 1 second. Item 8, show cause hearing for Club Ciroc at 6804 Atlanta Highway as to why their business license should not be revoked.
All right. Representative of Ciroc, please.
Anwar Taylor.
Your name, you're the attorney?
Yes, sir.
And your name for the record?
Anwar Taylor.
Okay. All right, give us a read. All right, you want to go ahead, Chief?
Yes, sir. Regarding the business at 6804 Atlanta Highway Ciroc Club, patrol units or officers have responded there a total of 109 times since March 1st. We've had fights in progress, subjects who've been shot, vehicles broken into, extra patrol. We've had domestics, and then unknown investigations, which takes up the majority of it, which is 68 times, to include crowd control, people crossing Atlanta Highway, people parking in the median, and closed businesses, traffic's being stopped because subjects are trying to get an overcrowded or closed parking lot to the club. We can always smell an extremely strong odor of marijuana coming from this business, and private property businesses are overrun with patrons from the parking lot loitering and littering on their property. There is one one business that is willing to speak to you. The others wish to remain anonymous. They would speak to you in private. They're afraid of any kind of retaliation if they were to be mentioned in here in regards to that. And then I do have the video for this club. If you could play that, it's going to be the first part of it.
Play the video, Mike.
Yes, sir. It'll be the first part of the
Ciroc.
video. So this shows some of the numerous parking issues we've had. This is after the business is closed where they were still selling barbecue. This is the Liberty gas station that patrons park at. The person who sells barbecue has now moved into the Liberty gas station to sell his barbecue.
Yeah, how y'all saw the police come? Ooh. Get down, y'all. Let's go.
Wow. These are patrons from the business. Can you turn that down a little bit? These are patrons from Ciroc.
That's not Club Ciroc.
So those are patrons from Ciroc that had moved down there. So
That's Empire.
you can shut it off now.
That's Empire, cut it off.
So the Walgreens is across the street. That's a 24-hour.
Walgreens is part of our.
Yes, sir. It's a 24-hour pharmacy. You know, we have the hospital that's right up the road from there. You know, folks who are getting prescriptions prescribed to them while they're getting treatment are unable to, you know,
Okay.
go in that business during that time. Some of the other issues that we've had are shots fired inside the club. We actually had a security guard that tried to intervene in a shooting match between two other individuals and shot into a gas station, which is a violation of the law to be how security is supposed to be armed. He was shooting an AR-15.
Chief, was that with an AR that was fired
Yes,
into the
it
gas
was.
station?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we're still, they've tried to fix some of the issues with the parking and stuff, but we're still, like I said, getting complaints in regards to
Okay.
private
I think
property.
we've got all of it right in front of us. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you want to defend yourself?
Yes, if I may, that first video where it shows the, I guess, the individuals fighting in the parking lot, that was at
That was not
Rock and
Chirac.
Jump? The first one. The
First part of it was not.
That was at Rock and Jump. That could not have been.
That's not
They-
you.
Those were
said that
patrons
those
that we had
individuals
to.
were at Ciroc.
Right, they were at Ciroc and they moved down there because we had the parking lots blocked off.
Okay, that's it.
Right. However, Club Ciroc cannot control if they go to another location and fight, obviously. The club has made several changes. You all, we're asking that you all take in consideration that each incident that happened, there's been a change in security, a change in protocol, a change in processes to prevent those types of things from happening. They've also inquired to work with the city police department in order to acquire some off-duty officers to protect the Walgreens and the gas station. We understand that the officers will not go inside the building, but if they are willing to protect those outside areas, then that will help alleviate some of the problems. Also, as far as the parking, because that was a #1 concern. Now, KFC shares parking lots with the club. As you know, KFC is under construction, so it took away most of the parking. However, they have entered into agreement with Fun Zone, the owner of Fun Zone, and I believe they have like 6 acres of parking spaces back there to where they are using them now. Now, I spoke with Chief Reeves, and she was explaining to me that there are still some issues in which, you know, the business will address. Any of the cleaning issues that's been happening, they've also agreed to go in after and make sure everything is clean and safe for people for the next day of business. Obviously, they can't control each and every individual that frequents them. Some people will park in places that they are not asked to park at. You know, there's plenty of parking space for them to park in. But the business is asking that they are given the opportunity to make these corrections as well as work with the Montgomery Police Department to prevent things from happening. There's been those 2 incidences, and I believe they said the shooting. Now, the security officer that had the rifle or whatever has been fired and has been told that he cannot carry that weapon. And that person is no longer part of the security staff. They have also implemented the, what you call them, the things that you walk through, to metal detectors. The incident where it said there was a shooting inside the building, someone was able to sneak a weapon inside, and from our understanding, the person shot himself.
If I could, real quick on that, we were standing out there one day in regards to the parking, and an individual came out of the club, and he had a sidearm clearly visible on his waistband going to his vehicle that he had illegally parked in the roadway. And I happened to mention to him, excuse me, do you happen to be part of the security team, because he just came out of the club with a firearm? And he was not. He was just a patron of the business who had clearly entered into the business with this firearm on his side, and nobody did anything to try and prevent him from doing that.
Well, and once, like I said, since that incident, the whole security staff has been terminated, and the new staff has been acquired to prevent any of those types of issues from happening. Obviously, someone let them slide through. That's not a practice or a policy of the club. Anyone in the club with a firearm is obviously not authorized.
This is in my district, and big concern I've got, biggest one, several, but the one that really stood out is the number of people in that club when you've got a state ordinance put in place for a number of people in the club to try to avert the virus and the pandemic. It was obvious the club management and owners did not have any concern about that one at iota. And to me, for them to not deal with that particular situation says that they probably infected a lot of people across this state and across this county out of what was going on in that club that night. Because no social distancing. I did see one or two masks, but it just, that many people in the club was a total violation. And I think that just sends a message that apparently the management just doesn't care.
Well, if I may, they have made a lot of strides on that. They've reduced their numbers, reduced the way that they are going to operate the business. They're going to pull back until the virus is under control. A vaccine has been created to keep less traffic and less individuals. They're going to go well below the, now I believe it's 202. They originally slotted for 404 as far as
right,
the
202 is the maximum.
Yeah, now it's 202, so they will stay well below that. But there haven't been many major issues at this club. I mean, they've been in business for a little over 2 years, and even before that, it was a previous nightclub as well. But they're willing to do whatever it takes to continue to be a citizen of Montgomery and make sure that things are done the right way and work with Montgomery Police Department, even hire them, want to sit down and have a training or meeting where the security officers as well as the management will sit down together and come up with a game plan and come up with the best effective way to prevent these issues from happening. As you know, they can't control everything. They can't control every little fight, every single thing that happens. I mean, there's going to be fights, there's going to be issues, but they can do their part to prevent them from happening within the club, as well as getting them off the property and along their way to prevent these issues from happening.
I have a question.
Any questions?
Is Mr. Desmond not available?
No, ma'am. He's out of time.
Okay. And because I feel like you're an attorney, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can kind of give us a legal answer on things, but I'm just going to assume what you tell us he going to do it.
Yes, ma'am.
But I got this question. They selling food outside?
No, ma'am. That was some vendor that showed up. They asked them to leave.
No,
they
they
asked
did
them
not.
not to, from my understanding, they asked them not to be there. Then the officers came and I believe gave them a ticket for them, which they're willing to pay for the ticket. But then the vendor moved off of their property, and apparently she told me today that they moved further down the street.
So if I could explain, they've actually moved to this gentleman's gas station where he has now set up his grill there, and patrons go to his gas station when it's closed to purchase food. The person was selling food there for many weeks. We told them that it was not permitted to stop doing it. We're trying to get these patrons off your property, stop allowing to do this. And it wasn't until I took those photographs of all the people in the parking lot still at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to buy food that they actually had this individual leave the property.
Okay.
So I was
Mr. Chairman?
specifically asked what was I doing and why was I taking
Yes, sir,
pictures.
Mr. Bollinger.
You know, one of the questions I have, and maybe you think it's a good plan to move over into the fun zone, but the fun zone area is not lit up. There's no lights back there in that back area.
Right.
There's not a lot of asphalt back there. There's a lot of street area, but everything else, the pad is left where the building was. So in moving everything back there, you've just moved the problem from the club to the back now with no lights or anything else. So I'm a little concerned what would go on back there, because I think it's your responsibility taking care of the clients to get them out and safe on their way home.
Correct. I would agree with that. And they have purchased the standing lights as well as have security on constant rotation back there, watching out for the cars, making sure things not happening. That shouldn't be happening.
Okay.
Well, I got one more question, Mr. President.
Clay, go ahead, Mr. McGinnis.
Excuse me, sir, how many days a week are you open?
They're open on the weekend.
On the weekend, so
from 8 to, I believe, 2.
That's incorrect.
Friday, Saturday?
Friday, Saturday?
That's incorrect.
From my understanding, and Sunday.
They're open Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I believe.
Okay.
See, if he was here, he'd have known it. See what I'm saying?
So
That's on me. I should ask that
No, that's
question.
fine. I understand. I just want to point out there were 109 calls, and since March 1st to
Right.
basically August 1st, it's 150 days.
Right.
So you're at almost a, 0.78 calls per day, and you're not open every day, or
Right.
maybe.
But if I may, we also have to take into consideration that those calls were dealing with parking. A lot of them were dealing with parking and trash
Some.
being in the businesses and things of that nature. And since then, those issues are being resolved and being taken care of.
And that was during COVID too. That was
Say it
during
again.
COVID, so there was a down period there as well.
Say it again, I could barely hear
It
you.
was during COVID as well, so there's a
The
down
clubs were
period
shut
there.
down for a
Right.
few months, yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, I got another question. I
Anybody
didn't get
got a
both of
question?
them in.
Yes, one more question.
This says that on July the 11th, they had the medics come out for a 19-year-old man that was intoxicated. Are they not IDing at the door?
Yes, they have to ID. I mean,
Well,
it's
how
part
he
of the
get in?
They let, apparently they let 19 and under into the club, 19 to enter, 21 to drink. He was so incapacitated, he couldn't even tell us who the president was. That's how intoxicated he was.
Right. Now, if that happens to one individual, which I understand the person was 19. Now, if the club is open to 19 to 21-year-olds, obviously the individuals that get the alcohol are ID'd and are above 21. Now, what they do with it, we don't know. Now, they will put in effect, and I've already explained to them that we may want to change that to 21 so we prevent that from even happening. So they're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that they be a vital member of the community.
And just,
Okay.
I'd like to point out, though, the 19-year-old statement was that he was just in the club smoking weed and drinking. He didn't do anything else, because we were
Okay.
concerned that he had taken some other illegal narcotics that may put his life in danger, but that was his response to us, that he was in the club smoking weed and drinking.
So what they gonna do about the weed smoking?
Okay.
Well,
We have a couple of people want to speak on this
sorry.
item.
I was going to ask that, but you beat me to the punch.
Mr. Patel, did you want to speak?
Oh, go ahead.
How you get it in?
How you doing? I own the gas station and liquor store, and the club is literally nuisance. Park all over.
Pull up the mic.
There's like 80, 90 cars parked every night.
In your parking lot?
Yeah, I got a picture. People
Okay.
urinate.
We've seen that.
People urinate all over. There's somebody opened the barbecue restaurant nighttime right on the top of the gas tank. And it's just a nuisance. All
Very
trash
good.
is food.
Well, you and all your neighbors are,
And I had to call the cops bunch of time because I got liquor store and gas station. People shake the door, try to get a free beer or liquor.
Very
so
good.
bunch of time I had to come nighttime. Last 2 weeks I've been watching camera every night to 2 o'clock. I opened 6 o'clock. I had to go make sure the parking lot clean. And he just basically paid in about it. And the owner of him, I've been texting him. He's aware of it. Now he's tired. He don't even reply my text message.
very good.
And somebody break it in, he's going to hurt my business and hurt me and
Very
my
good.
insurance.
We understand. We've seen that
Thank you.
information. Thank you. Jamal?
The same thing I'm going to say, like I said about the other one. The same thing I'm going to say, like I said about the other one. You look at that video, Mr. President, it's just sad. Social media have a lot of kids on it. Kids in Montgomery watching this, council members. What are we saying to our kids to see grown, and I can't say what I want to say, but grown adults acting like this stuff going viral on social media, people tagging me, asking me what we're going to do, blase. It make it hard for us pastors, us activists. It make it hard when an MPD officer pull over a black person. You want to go and check on, make sure they all right, but when you see stuff like this, it kind of contradicts our message. And not saying that it's right, but it contradicts our message when we go out there and try to fight against racial injustice when we are all black city, majority black folk, and Mr. President, people my color, my race, my generation is acting like this in business establishment. If these business owners cannot control their house, this is their house, they sit y'all an attorney down here. If this was me, Mr. President, and it had my name on it, I'm going to be down here speaking on for me. Because Jamel Brown, this me, thank y'all too for agreeing. They sit the lawyer. So they telling y'all they don't care. And I know this in your district, but 9 times 10, Mr. President, get what? Majority of them folks you see in the video stay in Gills Village, Ridgecrest, Washington Park. They're on my side of town. I see them every day. This is sad, man. Like, I really want to go home and drink some wine because I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Like, why do we have to continue to hurt each other? That frustrates me, man. Like, why? And then the owners don't do nothing about it. I'll stand, like I said the last one, this will need to be shut down also.
Thank you. Okay, I declare the public hearing is over. I think we've heard everything we need out of from you. I think we need the council. We have a resolution in front of us. We need a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution.
Motion to suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Need a motion to uphold this resolution.
Motion to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
6.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain?
1.
Motion carries. License suspended.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Item
Thank you,
10.
new work, police. I thank you, working police department. Y'all did a good job.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get through this agenda, folks.
Item 10, application for an alternative transportation service by Monica McDaniel, doing business as Heart to Heart Transportation.
Monica McDaniel here.
I believe she told me she was going to be on the phone,
On the
Mr.
phone,
President.
Monica McDaniel. Is she on the phone?
Ms. McDaniel, are you on the phone?
I don't hear her. I probably
Ms. McDaniel?
got tired of waiting on us.
Ms. McDaniel?
I don't hear her. We can carry it over.
Just
as
a
we
minute.
normally do if they're not
I've
here.
lost another council member. Hold on just a minute.
Huh?
Hold
I
on.
said I've lost another council member. I'm
Yeah, we
having
got-
to.
We got 6 left.
Yes, sir. We've got 6.
Nobody leave. All right, we'll carry this over, okay? Number 11. Number 11 is a public hearing on this item.
Application for lounge retail liquor Class 2 package license, doing business as AirTech at 3566 Day Street.
Mr. Patel, you here? Represent number 11, item number 11. Is he here? I see you signed up. People have gotten tired of waiting too.
He's outside.
It is a public hearing. Let's have a public hearing anyway. The public hearing, anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward. You can pull it down, ma'am. We can't hear you otherwise. Pull the microphone down in front of your face, please.
Good afternoon
Your name?
to the mayor, to the city councilors.
Is that the owner?
I'm Mrs. Gwendolyn Hampton, and I'm here tonight to represent the Homeview Bamash Neighborhood Association.
Please talk in the mic.
I'm here to represent the Homeview Bamash Neighborhood Association. We are opposing the liquor license for the Azar service station on Airbase Boulevard, on Day Street. We feel we have enough alcohol already being sold in our area. We are looking for business in our neighborhood that will best serve our needs, like job placement and monitoring for programs for youth and senior citizens. And we are looking for business like drugstores and food service. We appreciate our city councilman for advising them not to have liquor in our neighborhood. We thank you.
Please give me your name. Clerk, please.
Your name?
Give us your name, please.
My name is Mrs. Gwendolyn Hampton,
Okay. Gwendolyn Hill.
and I represent the Homeview.
Okay, very
Community.
good. We got you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Clerk needed that. Yes, sir, your name?
My name is Jamal Thomas, and I'm a community activist and a community leader in the city of Montgomery, and I'm speaking to oppose this application for a liquor license for the AirTech on Day Street.
Okay.
That neighborhood does not need a liquor store. It's a lot of neighborhood with a lot of plight. a lot of mental illness, a lot of substance abuse, a lot of drug abuse, and I know that because I work for an organization that does that. And then like within a 1 mile radius, you know, it's a package store down on Mobile Highway, and there's some package stores. It's actually like 3 package stores in walking distance on Fairview. So just another liquor store in that neighborhood I don't think it'll do good. I mean, they're already serving beer and wine, so they don't need no alcohol. They can just drive to get it.
Thank you for your input. I declare the public hearing's been held. It's proper before the council. You got something? Huh?
Is this the owner?
Oh, the owner's here? Okay. Yes, sir. Your name, sir?
Patel.
You can pull your mask down. Okay. Now, we've had the public hearing. I know that this is in your, Aldridge, this in your district,
It is.
and you wanted to carry this over?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm going to carry this over. There has to be some kind of communication, you know, and I am in the middle, and I don't want to be in the middle of this, but I'm going to carry it over. I don't know how we'll come back, but I do think you should reach out to the community.
Please.
Have you had a chance to talk to the community?
No, I have not.
Okay,
yet.
well, there she is right there. Give her your card or something, get a phone number, begin a conversation and a dialogue, and let's go from there. So we'll see you back in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay.
Carry it over.
Thank you.
Next item, number 12.
Item number 12, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises only, doing business as Circle K, 3565 Lower Wetumpka Road.
Representative Circle K here, please. Circle K. I see no, this is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward.
Are you on the phone? Are you for Circle K at Lower Wetumpka Road? Thought I heard someone.
I need a representative of Circle K. Seeing no objection, I declare the public hearing's been held. They're not here tonight, so normally we carry them over. If they don't, so the public hearing's been held. It'll come back as old business next meeting. Okay? Next item.
13, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises, doing business as Circle K at 4501 Troy Highway.
Okay. Representative Circle K on Troy Highway here. Circle K on Troy Highway. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak against this item, please come forward at this time or speak up from the telephone.
Mr. President, it's the same owners.
Same owner?
It's the same owners, so we carried over.
Okay, well, we got to have a public hearing, so. I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. We'll carry this over to the next meeting.
Item 14, application for retail beer and retail table wine off premises, doing business as Texaco Food Mart at 755 Air Base Boulevard.
Okay. Is this any representative for Texaco on Air Base Boulevard here? Yes, sir. Come forward, please. Your name for the record.
My name is Shahariar Shihab.
Okay, Mr. Chair. This is a public hearing, and anyone like to speak against this item, please speak up at this time on the phone or in this audience. Seeing none, I declare the public hearing's been held. It's brought before the council. Need a motion?
You're just changing the owner, right?
Ownership, yes.
Okay, motion to suspend the rules.
All right, motion's been rules. All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Good luck with your
Resolution
business,
is
sir.
adopted. Item 18, pursuant to Section 1153B1 Code of Alabama, authorization of demolition of unsafe structures at the listed locations.
Okay, I need a motion to uphold.
Motion to uphold.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Item 16, resolution assessing the cost of abatement of unsafe structures on various lots.
Need a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules on the
agenda.
rest of the agenda.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion on 16.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
17.
Resolution declaring, authorizing, and assessing cost of abatement of public nuisances on various lots.
Need a motion
Motion
to
to
adopt.
adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Madam Clerk, you've got,
Yes, sir, I've got some contingency funds for you.
let's go to this resolution on Katie Bell.
Okay.
Board of Trustees, need to give this out.
Yeah. Resolution reappointing Dr. Katie Bell to the Board of Trustees, Montgomery City County Public Library.
Now you got it in your hand, now get a motion to suspend the rules. First of the library board, okay?
Motion to
Motion
suspend the
rules.
rules.
Suspend the rules.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Motion to
Motion
adopt.
to
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous. Resolution is adopted.
Okay, now we're down to the
Contingency funds.
contingency.
Yes, sir, I've got one before you for District 5, $1,000 to YMCA Britain Downtown Branch.
Move to suspend the rules.
Well, I have one.
Oh, you got one more ad. I know you got one to add. Hold on. I need, Audrey, you need to add that one of yours.
Okay, I want to,
8,000 to the.
yeah, 8,000 to
Hateless.
the Hateless Foundation.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
They are, let me say this, just so to be on the record, they are partnering with MPD for the PALS program.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a
and
good
so
program, we understand.
That's
You
an
okay with
excellent
this, Mr.
program
Mayor?
for our youth. We need it.
There you go.
The Parks and Rec, they have made sure they have a facility and they just need some equipment so we can get our youth a safe place. So I wanted to partner with them, so that's what we're doing with this $8,000. We're trying to get them up and running.
you okay, Mr. Mayor?
All right, anybody else? Anybody else?
Motion
Need
to
a
adopt.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Done.
No, you gonna adopt.
Okay, I got nothing else on my desk. Anybody else got anything they want to talk about?
That's it?
What was that?
Meeting adjourned.